welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show. Once again, we are joined with our, I don't know, it's kind of like the George Takei on the Howard Stern show. our reoccurring guy who's the official announcer that is only in once in a while.
Oh my.
Mr. Jimmy DePalma is with us.
Hello. Welcome, Jimmy. Welcome.
Brad, get me my towel, Brad.
And we got
You
Howie.
have to watch Howard Stern.
We got Howie Dogstar. He's
How are you?
Because of some snow and stuff. So he's here with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And superstar DJ extraordinaire, swinging Pastor Jay Brennan from Temecula, California.
Yeah,
Hey everybody, what's up?
In there? Like I didn't mix. I put it all in there in one thing.
I know. That's rather impressive.
Jay, you were telling a story and I told you to shut up because I thought it would be good banter for the show.
All right.
Go ahead.
So I'm on YouTube, and a guy I follow, Tim Pierce, is a famous guitar player that you've heard. Even if you don't know the name, if you look up Tim Pierce, Pierce, his Wikipedia, he's played for everyone on everything. He was Rick Springfield's touring guitar player and played on both albums, the first two.
Right, the Omar Hakim of guitar playing.
Yeah, he's on Iris from the Goo Goo Dolls. Crowded House, their big #1 hit. He plays guitar on that. Like, he's a studio guitar extraordinaire.
I saw him on Hired Gun on the documentary.
Yeah, he's famous guy in the guitar world, and super cool. And I've met him at Gearfest. He's super nice. But he did a 57-second video, and the caption title of the video is the best key change ever in music. So I'm like,
in guitar playing.
Right. Well, in song, like the whole song shifts keys.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm interested. I want to see what this is. So I click on it and I'm like, oh, this sounds amazing. I know this song. Couldn't think of the artist, couldn't think of the title. It's going B major to G major. He does the breakdown and then he puts up the title of the song and it's Scritti Politti, Perfect Way. Yes. And I'm like, and Jimmy had requested it from me a long time ago and I didn't have it then. And it was one of those like, oh man, Scritti Politti, they're kind of like Oingo Boingo. I can't remember. And then when I heard it today, it brought me back to, no, this is somebody else. This is New Order. This is,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pure Energy, Information Society. That they had that, and over in the UK, the other hit they had was called Would Be's. But yeah, Perfect Way was great.
They kind of remind me more of New Shoes.
Well, the New Shoes is a weirdo one because, and I don't want to get too off.
Band or song?
No, their sound. Their sound.
Oh, band. Like, I'm thinking he meant New Shoes by like Pablo Nutelli.
No. New Shoes.
That's a great song.
And friendly, and you know what I mean?
Well, the band New Shoes, the song I Can't Wait didn't do much.
Right.
But it went over to Europe and this Dutch remixer remixed the track and it became a club hit and oddly enough a US urban radio staple. But it's the Dutch mix of that track that if you listen to the original version of I Can't Wait, it is not cool or funky. But the Dutch mix is what made it so cool.
Does it have the stutters in it on the original versus the remix?
No.
I can't wait.
Is this going to be another one of those videos that I have to pause and buy and pause?
Probably not. If you own New Shoes, I Can't Wait, then you have the Dutch mix.
Yeah, probably. One of those things.
I have it. I found it on a crate dig years ago and I grabbed it and I listened to it. This sounds terrible. Yeah. And I researched, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I need the Dutch mix. So then I got the Dutch mix later, but I do have the original as well, which is very lackluster. The Dutch mix, I don't think came out until maybe a year later. It worked its way back to the States and became the hit it was.
Remixed by?
I don't remember the producer.
I do. Cameron Paul, oddly enough.
Cameron Paul.
Oh, we're back to Cameron Paul. All right.
So did they pass
3 in a row?
Did they pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side?
You'll have to ask the Dutch. They're always passing something over there. I've been to Amsterdam.
I know that you got my play on words.
So this is the Perfect Way 12-inch. I just pulled it up because Jay had mentioned it before the show.
Yeah.
I told him to shut up. So let's like
sounds
save some of this good
amazing
stuff for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. I totally forgot about it. It's one of those like and it may not happen to everyone, but boy, I bet you once or twice a month I'll hear a song, know the song, can't name the song, can't name the artist, and then when I Shazam it, I'm immediately thrown back to that time. Like the Scritti Politti track, The Perfect Way. I was like, oh my God, I'm like suddenly back in the 80s.
The
like,
bridges on that track are just insane.
So gorgeous.
College radio for me. I was DJing a Saturday morning with a friend of mine, and she's now a big radio person, but we both started out in college radio, and that was like one of the tracks I know we used to play on a regular basis.
Well, living in the Midwest here, I mean, just above Chicago, I mean, that song to me never appeared in a John Hughes film, but it seems like it should have.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
It's just, you know, it was always like fall or winter in every John Hughes film. And when you're driving through Chicago, that's the kind of stuff you heard on B96 during the day. So I mean,
I can see that with Thompson.
I can tell you that I was in 8th grade when it came out, and I'd have to do the math on 85 maybe is when we got it here.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. So amazing track.
Oh, great track.
And such.
Well, and I'm only going to bring it up because it reminded me of the same vibe. Is that Michael W. Smith or Michael W. Smith? Michael S. Smith.
W. Smith. Yeah.
Michael W. Smith, who I know you don't care for, but when I heard that track, I had that same epiphany of like, okay, I don't think I know this song, but I know it sounds familiar. You go through those periods where you get me. That's the beauty of Shazam. I think outside of text and phone calls and my camera, Shazam's probably the most used app on my phone because I'm constantly.
It's a really cool tool. I've never used it, but I've heard nice things.
It'd be great if you knew more music like Brian and I.
Well, that's why we're here. That's why we're here.
That's why you know,
we're soaking it in, as you said on the last show. We're soaking it in.
No, but see the difference.
You appreciated that.
No, totally. But like with Brian and your music, which is deeper diving, a lot of times Shazam will pick up good music, which then you can play back and listen and have at weddings and different events. Your stuff goes deep, where it's like, you don't get to Shazam it because you don't get to hear it very often.
Well, you
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, what I think about, and we talked about it. I don't know if it was on air last night or we talked about it after the show, but a lot of the music that was coming out in the early to mid 80s, I feel like got overshadowed by Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And, you know,
tell that time, Brian. You did that off air.
That was off air, yeah.
And Madonna. And Madonna too.
And
the Madonna thing was off air. Yeah.
There was 80s were monstrous for like huge artists.
Right. You know? And it overshadowed a lot of stuff like this. That's amazing. You know, even bands like Tears for Fears didn't get the attention they should have gotten because of our mega artists.
Well, like I just mentioned When in Rome, The Promise.
Yes.
That was a great song.
Yeah.
But that was an unusual time when you could have something like a dance track like that or something obscure or a metal band, you know, in the top 10. There'd be like 3 or 4 different genres in the top 10.
There was no real pattern.
There was no pattern at all. Yeah. Not like today. That's kind of
Today is 5 Drake songs in the top 10 and then Post Malone featuring, and it's very hip-hoppy urban in the top 100. Back in the 80s, like you say, Howie, you'd have Michael Jackson followed by Def Leppard, followed by Journey, followed by Lionel Richie, followed by the Police, followed by Randy. Like every genre was represented within the top 5 usually.
Right.
Now, because of the way music is done with streaming, you get 3 Drake songs that nobody knows but his audience in the top 5. So it's not that he's not getting plays. It's that he's getting the same streaming from his fan base over and over and over again, which is clicking the placement on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's a phenomenon of the 90s forward.
I have a big problem with this Spotify list that it should actually, in my opinion, be, did you buy it or just listen to it? Oh, we had all these, view or listens, so it's a number one song. Well, how many people bought it? Come on.
I think little or none.
Yeah. That would be like basing the old top 10 on the amount of times the song was requested instead of the amount of times anybody bought it.
Right. My 19-year-old owns, but I don't think he owns any music.
Those. But people did buy those. Right. It's the only way to get it.
But exactly. It's how you ingested music. Now, Connor, I bet if I ask Connor how many songs he's bought, I bet the number would be 0. Why would he buy music? He pays for a YouTube pass, so he can go commercial free with YouTube. He gets in the car and puts on like yacht rock and drives around listening for 12 months in a row to uninterrupted yacht rock on his phone that goes into his stereo. How am I going to explain
commercials?
No matter what platform, you get to make your own playlist too if you pay for the premium.
Right.
So,
well, before we get too off topic on this,
sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's my fault this time.
No.
Jay.
We can go right when we.
How we saw a cloud, out came the cane.
Hey, squirrel went by. Sorry,
squirrel.
These kids today. All right. I mean, if this is where you want to go, I hate doing the grumpy old men show though, because it's what we say.
No. I don't. I didn't mean it to be
damn
that
kids,
way.
Damn kids listening to that spotty thing and the thing with the thing.
No.
Can I mention a unique song after Howie's done?
Yeah. All I was doing was saying it. The popularity should be based on purchase, not listens.
Right.
For what 1/millionth of a penny or something,
Well, I mean, it was when Metallica's, was it Justice for All came out and launched at number 1. I think the first metal album to launch at number 1 was Skid Row, Monkey Business.
Yeah.
Or Slave to the Grind.
Well, maybe it
had already gotten pre-sales.
Playlist, maybe an alternate thing of purchased as opposed to listened to.
Well, because the album doesn't sell, but the artist gets streaming, and if you don't know this, the label gets more money than the artist for track streaming. Yeah. Because they went after digital rights. So the labels don't care. If you bought it, they're getting paid on both sides of the fence.
Have the labels ever cared about their artists? Never.
No. Someone had a new contract for an artist with Universal Music, I think. And in the contract, it actually said, on this planet or any other, as one of the clauses, just in case we go to the moon
of the future here,
and they build like a little UFO 1999 space thing on the moon, and they decide to whip out a Walkman. We get a royalty check.
Let me bring it around to something else.
I'm sorry, Brian.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm kind of going on this, but I want to kind of focus our anger tonight. Our old man.
What does focus mean?
I'm not angry. I'm just suggesting an alternative.
I know.
But what does focus mean? I don't know that word.
So I go down these weirdo rabbit holes sometimes. I was watching a video last night on Max Headroom. Do you remember Max Headroom?
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
I saw, it was very good.
Talking to myself.
I thought Max Headroom was hilarious. It was cool. I didn't always get it, but sometimes I liked it, and it was interesting. But anyway, I was watching this, I don't know, fan-made doc on it or something like that, and they were talking about what he did and why he did it, and they were saying how cable TV was kind of his thing. He was supposed to be a cable TV talk show presenter, and they were talking about it from the perspective of a young person, and they said, well, if you don't know, cable TV used to be the way it was. So you turn the TV on, you got so many channels, you didn't get to choose what you watched, you didn't get to rewind it, you didn't know what you were watching, you just turned it on, and it was horrible. It was just horrible. Mm-hmm. It's not like today where you can just do this stuff in demand. I'm thinking to myself, oh man, these people have missed the point. Because for me, I'll just tell you right now, I don't watch TV upstairs until Blanca goes to bed because she doesn't watch stuff that I want to watch. So when she goes to bed, I'll go upstairs and I'll turn the TV on. Now, if I go to a channel and watch something, I might jump into something in progress. Well, what's this? We'll check it out and I'll watch it. But if I have to make a decision to choose a streaming service and to watch something specific on the streaming service, I'll spend 2 hours trying to find something.
Yeah.
Where it was, for me anyway, I think I really appreciate someone else doing my programming and just presenting me with things.
Lazy braining. I want to be lazy brain.
Well, that's what DJs do.
May I
it's not lazy brain, it's the opposite.
Yeah,
just getting turned onto something you wouldn't normally check out.
Right.
That,
Can I ask a personal
cool,
question?
That's what DJs do.
Does Blanca watch the Hallmark and that's why you won't go up?
Blanca actually only watches action films.
Blanca watches UFC, for God's sakes. You kidding me?
But Blanca, see, I want to watch the chick flick. She won't do it. I have to watch it with my kid or her kid. She wants to watch the bloodiest, goriest, most action-packed thing. Like, she's a Fast and Furious chick. She likes anything that has to do with horror or, shooting.
She's watching I Spit on Your Grave when Brian walks upstairs.
She's an action movie chick.
Brian, hey, Blanca, how you doing? She's like, not tonight, amigo, not tonight.
She wouldn't say amigo.
I'm making her Mexican now. There.
And no more Boricua.
That would get you stabbed.
No more Boricua. Good thing hey, I spent 20 hours watching documentaries the other day on Wisconsin. I know exactly what goes down out there. Don't even try me now. That's why I'm staying over here. Bunch of nut jobs out here, but hey, at least it's one.
All right. My song?
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
My unique song that probably nobody else likes.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. We're out of time. That's been a great show this week, though. What I want to do is...
Very much. Good night.
Thank you. Swing Out Sister, Break Out.
Yeah, great song.
Oh, good song.
Great song. It's one of those you forget songs.
Yeah, definitely.
The weird thing about Breakout is that for some reason it sounds throwback.
It does.
I don't know why.
Because
it sounded almost friendly. 50s in the 80s. Remember? It sounded
like late 60s, early 70s to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way the vocals were arranged. But obviously it was all like heavy synth based.
Right. But it's like what is it, Matthew? Was it Matthew Sweet? Break My Stride?
That's Matthew Wilder.
Matthew Wilder, yes. I mean, it's the kind of track that I forget about. And then when I find it and play it, it goes over really well.
Yeah. Well, to Jimmy's point, the other song I can think of that just, to me, at the time felt very throwback. And I was very young when it came out. But when it came out, I mentioned it to my sister. She said, how did you pick that up? Was Maxine Nightingale's Right Back Where We Started From.
Yeah.
To me, sounded like a Motown song.
Yep.
What about Sixpence the Richer?
What, Kiss Me?
I always thought that was in the same lines with Swing Out Sister. That to me was in that same sort of sounded like they came from the same period.
I didn't catch that. But the harmonies that they were doing on that track.
Yeah, it was bigger.
And the bridge.
Right.
Felt very throwback to me. I don't know why.
But it just didn't sound like everything around it.
If anything, it could have been 40s. It could fit. It's like a modern version of a 40s crooner tune.
We should see if we can get Scott Bradley, Modern Day Jukebox, to see if he'd be willing to do that song and see what his take on it would be now. Maybe a Haley Reinhart singing with that voice of hers.
I think
you talk about songs sounding like throwbacks. What I could think of right now is that Bruno Mars project, Silk Sonic. They sound very R&B.
Yeah. Well, everything Bruno Mars has done that's been a hit. Uptown Funk sounds like something from the time, or Rick James. And then 24K Magic sounded like almost electro freestyle, didn't it, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's all by design. Like he's addressing that. He's trying to do music like it used to be.
And
look at Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz never did anything that sounded like today. Lenny Kravitz always sounded like, oh, this is that song from 70. Oh, no, it's not. It's Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah, you'd expect it from post Woodstock era.
Yeah.
Well, Pharrell's Happy sounds like a Curtis Mayfield song.
Yeah.
I mean,
totally.
It just does. And that's
kind of Freddie's Dead vibe.
I was thinking more like Move On Up or something like that. But the thing with that track, and the reason that track does so well, I think, as a DJ, is because if you are living like as some kind of recluse all by yourself, and you happen to go to a wedding and you haven't turned on the radio for the last 10 years, and you don't know the song, it still has this familiar vibe to it. So an older person would say, hey, I like this sound, because it's kind of a familiar vibe. Even if they don't know it, they will respond well to it. So
100%.
Jimmy does that. He does that at every event I've ever done with him. It's like, I'm like, what is this song? But everybody's dancing to it because it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But it's a deep dive.
Well, the dives aren't as deep as I think you might think they are. They're just not necessarily staples.
They're just not what's on the they're not what's on the radio clock.
Yeah, they're not staples. They're not overplayed, but yeah, they're not.
So you mean I won't hear it at Home Depot? Are you telling me, Jimmy, I won't hear it at Home Depot? Or?
No, you won't hear it on New Channels Radio.
You might hear. I've heard some weird stuff at Home Depot where it's like, what? The one that sticks in my head that I completely forgot about was Fleetwood Mac's Love and Store off of Mirage. I heard that in Home Depot. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Really?
It's almost like a song that didn't exist until I heard it again. It's like, oh, I remember this. I will hear weird stuff like that sometimes. Sometimes
I was somewhere and they played Bob Welch.
Ebony Eyes?
Yeah.
Sentimental Lady.
No, wow. Ebony Eyes. And I was like, oh my God. And I think I was with Michelle and I said, like, you know who this is? He used to be lead singer of Fleetwood Mac. And I had to give that whole backstory. And
Hypnotize is like a wonderful song.
And then you forgot what you went for in the store.
Yeah, I don't even know what store it was in hindsight. But you know what? I think what it boils down to, and where Brian's alluding, if I'm following correctly, is that if you're a programmer, which we are as DJs, you should know your audience. And even if you take a Home Depot, you could argue, well, the audience is like 8 to 80, it's kids and adults and this and that. But I guarantee Home Depot knows its core group of buyers.
It's all psychology.
And how old they are.
There's no mistake to what they're playing.
No. When I was at Starbucks, we would get music brought in every month, and we had a little machine in the back, just like a little receiver. And you would have 5 sections broken down into 5 sections. And then every month that would change. And I would memorize the sections throughout the day. I would run back and see section 2. Okay, I know this is the chill one. And in the mornings when I would open, I would go back and it would start with like the upbeat stuff, because that was the scheduling of the day. Yeah. And I would go to the 07 section. And my manager was always like, I don't understand why you do this all the time. I said, because nobody wants to hear some BS upbeat, poppy, dancey Katy Perry crap at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
But when they walk in and hear like Waiting Line by 07, they're already stressed out. They just got up, they took a shower, they drove to my Starbucks, now they're waiting in line. Their day already isn't perfect. So if they can walk in and be disarmed by the sound, get their drink quickly, at least now they have a shot at it. I think we get too caught up in this, like you're a fighter going into the ring and you need to start your day off with Slipknot or something. You got to ease into it.
You're all morning people.
No, that's the thing. It's like, you know what?
Pump up the jam, pump it up.
To quote Brian S. Red, you don't just run into it. You want to hug a little first. Maybe stroke the hair. You don't want to just run. This isn't Unchained by Van Halen, hit the ground running. This is
go from first base to home plate. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
it doesn't. No, it's kind of like pizza night. Yeah.
I'll stop it with that.
Oh, you went there. Brian's stomach may still be upset.
Right. Thank you.
Come on.
I was talking the other night about this video I put up. I don't know. Not that. I guess it was maybe Thursday or Friday. It was Friday because I told the story, I think off air last night. Blanca needed to go to the pet store. So we went in there and they were playing music, and I hear everything they play. And they were playing Madonna's Like a Virgin. And all of a sudden I was smelling like Winston cigarettes, which is what my sister smoked in college in 1984. And I felt cold, and I could smell the paint that was in the halls of her dormitory downtown. And
Paco Rabanne.
I saw I had flashbacks. I was having this like Total Recall flashback thing, and I'm thinking to myself, why? I mean, the song's a staple. We know this song note for note in our heads.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember having this sensation where I had all these, things coming back. What do they call that? There's a name for that. It's like a triggered memory response or something like that, or whatever. But anyway, there's probably a really cool name for it, and I'll think of it when I'm watching the replay, and I'll be mad that I didn't say it. But I realized that I was listening to the original album version. I wasn't listening to the Immaculate Collection Q Sound, quantized remix. I wasn't listening to the sped up 45 single. I wasn't listening to any of that. I was listening to the original non-quantized, Now Rogers produced live band at the right speed version of the song, and it triggered all those memories. And that's cool. Those are the kind of things that I need to think about when I'm DJing. And I do that. Like Madonna, for instance, there are so many remixes of Holiday. I went out of my way to find the original 6 minute, 1 second, or whatever it is version of Holiday off the first album, because I don't think you can beat it. And that's the one that I play. I play Holiday quite a bit at gigs, actually, more so than a lot of the other ones. But I went out of my way to get the original. There's a reason for that, because it's better, because it's not remixed and all this stuff. It brings back memories, yet it's familiar to others. So I don't know.
Good to know, because I have like 12 copies of it. Like
everyone does.
I need to purge.
But I think that's the beauty of it, Brian. That's the beauty of the music, that it can trigger, it may have been olfactory, but that's the sense of smell. So if you smell something and it triggers, that's an olfactory stimulus and all that. But I kind of enjoy that, where I'll be near a campfire and you get that whiff of burning wood and you suddenly have a vision of a song, or you're on the beach and you get that track in your head that's like, man, this would be perfect here right now. And I don't think it's a DJ thing, programming. I think it's a human thing. I think music brings such joy.
Well, yeah, and that's why I was saying, as a DJ, I think these are really cool little observations.
Yeah,
you can maybe use as a programmer when you're.
And did you really say olfactory? Wow. Yeah.
Well, Brian, we had this talk one night. I don't know if it was on this show, but I know we've had it. There was a point in my career as a DJ in the early 2000s when I would pay attention to TV commercials, and I got into the band Rykoskop or Roykoscorp.
I know what you're talking about, the Apple and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes, and they had a track called Remind Me, and it was on a Geico commercial with the caveman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought the song, and I played it during cocktail at a couple weddings. And every time I would, people would run over to me like, man, what is this song? I know this song, man.
Right.
I know this song. And I was like, oh, it's Rykoskop, Remind Me. And if I didn't reference the commercial, they loved the track. They were like, I know this song. They didn't know it. But it's like, I also got Saint Germain Sure Thing. Granted, it was from a tampon commercial, but that's how I got introduced to Saint Germain.
A lot of people got turned on to the Dirty Vegas through the Volkswagen ad.
Exactly. Yeah.
That song has been out for
days go by,
several years. And then all of a sudden the Volkswagen commercial does it, and you got to have it at your gigs because everybody wants to hear it.
Well, and I have the acoustic chill version that I played a few weeks ago, along with the, my chill version from Shapeshifters.
Yeah.
But the reason I, got the acoustic, it was a theme song on HBO for a show. They did Days Go By, but they did the acoustic version.
They do that a lot.
Yeah, that was a theme song. I think that's part of the importance of programming. what's going on around you, what's really popular, and not to overplay it, but to give a little tip of the hat to make people feel like, oh man, I love this. I'll play, old So What by John Coltrane, Miles Davis. And I always get a couple of older guys coming up going, man, is Miles Davis? I'm like, yeah. Oh man, what a great song. I haven't heard this in forever. Or Wes Montgomery.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you're constantly trying to bring people in because you want to be all inclusive. You don't want to be exclusive. You don't want to just be like, oh, I only play the new stuff. You want everyone to feel like they're part of the party.
It's a fine line, I think.
Culture is very, very powerful. Like people hear these commercials or hear a snippet on a TV show, and then it's, I can remember watching a series, and am I the only sour cherry on the fruit stand? And I had to Shazam it. And I Shazammed it, and then I went on YouTube, and it had like 70,000 views. But after the TV show, it had 1.5 million views.
Well, I think we kind of have the same phenomenon now with TikTok a bit, and I think that the maybe it, and this is just a random thought. Perhaps instead of trying to play the entirety of Fleetwood Mac Dreams in front of children for a school dance, maybe the place to put that is during a cocktail set. So you're not really trying to, because they only want a little section that they know it from the TikTok video. But why not do the whole thing? There are so many times that I watch.
Yeah, during cocktails, sure.
Yeah.
There's so many times that I watch these reaction videos.
Yeah.
There's several people that I watch, and I try to get the ones that, I really feel are genuine. And I know they are because they're talking me through their take on it. And there's a couple that does these now that I really like, Brad and Lex. Lex always gets it. She's really sharp. Brad, he's more focused on lyrical stuff.
He never gets it. He's too deep of a thinker.
Well, no, he's thinking about the lyrics. She's just digging it. So she always gets it. Brad is always kind of like a little behind. She's always like,
she's got the headphones on, her head's going. Yeah.
But they did, they recently did Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time. And they were saying, this is a great song. I'd heard the little piece of it in a commercial or something, so I recognized it. But now hearing it as an entire, complete song, it's beautiful. And it has meaning. And we didn't get that from the snippet. So we thought we knew it, but we didn't. So this is really cool that we got to experience it.
That part warmed my heart when I watched that reaction where she was like, this means something now. It's beautiful.
I mean, it's those kind of observations that are fun.
I'm going to lose my audience on this one. I've tried, like you turned me on to those. And I'm like, I got to watch these. And I watched a few, and some of them were very moving where they would hear something really beautiful by like Jeff Beck or whatever. And they really reacted the way I thought they should. But for the most part, I'm just like, I don't understand how you've never heard this song. Like, I get so stuck on, you've never heard.
I mean,
like you've never heard the Commodore's Brick House.
Jay, it's like anything else. Some of it is complete BS. Some of it you can look at. It's not genuine, and I dismiss them. But there are others that there are some that I've actually spoke to because they do live streams and I go in and I'll actually throw recommendations at them, because I kind of know where they're at. But I mean, I'm thinking to myself, a lot of these kids are Stevie's age. Now, Stevie, they're young. Weird because Stevie had me as a dad, so she knows all kinds of stuff. But most of these kids didn't. I mean, a lot of these kids, they had parents who were just into the new hip hop, so they just did that. So they're now hearing these things for the first time. I mean, and I think Jimmy will probably understand where I'm coming from on this. I was a little shocked that you had a hard time with Scritti Politti Perfect Way. That's a lexicon song for me. So it's a great song. Perspective. It's all perspective, though.
The perspective is that I knew it,
not know it,
but did not know the name of it, and was like, it just isn't on the list. And the list is the one up here that's like, but again, we could sit here from now till hell freezes over, and I could be like, you're not getting Rory Gallagher photo finish? This is blasphemous. How are you not? Like, we all went down a little bit different roads. So where I was on the fringe of it, there was other areas where I was deep diving where, and that's the beauty of this show as well as discussions. You get to have that. No, dude, I've never heard of this song, never heard of this band. Oh my God, then you should try this. But the Scritti Politti, I'm like, I know this. But Information Society, I've been a champion of pure energy forever. And I can't sell it hard enough because everyone treats it the same way. Yeah, this was a good song. I like this, but it's not like really my thing. Nobody's ever that into it. Every time I play it at a wedding, I try to play it perfect. I try to get it between Depeche and New Order. And I try to kill it. And people look at me like, yeah, I get it, but I kind of don't get it.
A couple things I'll say. Because I want to address, because you said a lot there. I want to address some of the stuff that you were talking about. First thing is, it's all perspective. So if you can say that, hey, I heard it, but I didn't know the name of it, and it hadn't occurred to you that it was wonderful until the re-listen, and then it's like, oh wow, it is amazing because it was presented to you as such, then yeah, understand that some of these kids don't know it. Some of them do, and they're full of crap. But some of them are really good. I tend to watch the people that don't have a lot of views. There's one kid, I think he's from Oakland, and he's a drummer, and his father was a musician and did a lot of music. It's interesting to watch his reactions because he's musical, but and a lot of the things that he plays, he's like, I don't know this song I'm going to play. It's like, oh, Dad played this in the car all the time. I know this song. So there's some good ones out there. But the other thing I'll address is when you're talking about throwing tracks like, What's on Your Mind by Information Society into a mix, and I understand it's very frustrating. There are songs like that where I'm thinking to myself, this is amazing. It needs to get out there. But the truth,
the audience doesn't get it.
Well,
sometimes.
Yeah, they don't. But that's where our programming skills come into play, because just like a good joke, it's all about timing.
Oh, and the only way I can sell it is I've got to go like New Order, Pure Energy, Depeche Mode, or something like that on the right crowd, and they go ballistic. But if I'm doing a normal crowd and I'm doing like, Cake by the Ocean, because I think Pure Energy is like 122 or something. If I'm doing like Cake by the Ocean, I can't jump into that and then try to go into Maroon 5. Like, it kind of doesn't always fit the mold that you would like it to.
The other disadvantage that I feel like that you have specifically is that you're not playing long enough to be able to take those liberties. So,
dude, 20-minute dance sets at a wedding are not easy to achieve.
No, I mean,
I'm playing 75 songs.
Right, you've got to do
No. I'm never coming back around the way you guys are. I'm not doing sets that I can then 3 hours from now come back to it.
Yeah.
I'm doing 2 to 3 hours and that's it. I don't have 4 or 5 hours like you guys are doing. So I'm not getting the opportunity to get like the dance floor go, well, we've heard everything we love. What else you got? And I'm hitting them with bangers.
That's sort of what it is. But like a school dance for me, specifically a school dance for me, which I didn't.
How'd that one go the other night?
That didn't work. Go to my YouTube channel if you really want to see what happened. But
I went there. I was there.
Low hanging fruit.
Low hanging fruit. You already knew the answer to the question.
I didn't gig. Thank you, Don Carlo. Anyway, so where the hell was I? So okay, at a school, normally when I'm doing these things, I try to hit them with what they're going to ask for before they can ask for it, and prove myself as the DJ. I know what they want. I've got their best interest in mind. And then it becomes, hey, he's cool. Anything he does has got to be good. So whatever he plays, it doesn't matter. We're going to jam to it because he's legit. That's kind of the mob
That's
rule.
A great perspective.
And that's how you got to do Information Society. Now, whether or not you have time to do that is the question. You would have to be very slick to do it in a 2.5 hour window, I think.
It's one of those things where you don't get it becomes a throwaway if it doesn't work. And you look back and it like, shoot. Like we all have that I killed it, meaning I killed my dance floor, like played the wrong song. But you have those 7 or 8 songs in your head that are like, it's okay. I'm going to use this opportunity at 128 to go to, Lizzo, Truth Hurts, and get all the girls to freak out and start over again in the 80s. Like you can always do that routine.
I think you and I were talking about this recently on a show where you had said that sometimes you get to the point in the night, and it's usually when things are kind of dying off a little bit, where the client will come up to you and say things like, what do you like? Why don't you play something you enjoy?
Yeah, I've had that a few times, and it's awesome.
Maybe, and every situation is going to be a little different. It could very well be that they don't care anymore, or maybe it means something else. Maybe they just trust you that much.
Yeah.
Maybe they know that you're pandering to them and you've done a good job. Now take the shackles off and show us what you really got.
Yeah.
It could be that too.
Well, I took your advice.
Time to do that.
Right. I took your advice years ago when you said, I hit them with everything I have before the cake.
Yeah.
Like I need to really bang their heads against the wall up front so that by the time we get stop and start again, they've already built that trust in me.
Yeah.
And I think that for most of us as DJs, that's a challenging section. There's probably people watching this like, you kidding me? I kill it every time. Yeah, you do. But it's an area where you don't want to shoot everything off at once. You want to pull back a little. You want to keep those like Uptown Funk tracks and, the bangers that you just know will kill a little bit pulled back, maybe an Usher. Yeah,
you can.
A few of those.
Yeah.
But, I think to become a better DJ, sometimes you have to go without a net. You have to take those bangers and either don't play them or go nuts. I mean, and every time I've done weddings where after the 5th wedding in a row in 2 weeks, you say to yourself, man, I'm looking over my playlists in the history and I'm kind of regurgitating a lot of stuff, but it's different groups.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me take this song out of the mix. And instead, let me put I put Earth, Wind, and Fire September back in play last year. It had been out of my play for probably 3 or 4 years. Now you say, but that's a huge song. I haven't played AC/DC Shook Me All Night. I bet you I played AC/DC Shook Me All Night Long 3 times in 2021 out of 50 or 60 weddings because it just didn't fit. And I had a short, like you say, you've got half an hour left. You're in that 120 zone. And you have so many options, and you don't want to, you don't want to blow it. And I'll try to change it up by going to a Fisher, losing it, and just test the crowd. And when they go ballistic, I put a video up of a wedding I did a while ago, and a guy said, "I've never played Queen. Don't Stop Me Now." And I'm like, oh, let me tell you, if you have a theater group, a geeky group, a science fiction group, trust me on this. Play that at the end of the night. And if it kills, give yourself 5 minutes. If it kills the way it will, follow it with either Mr. Brightside or Shut Up and Dance and watch the magic happen. Because then when you end, they're so happy for you.
I got to go back a segue or two.
Okay.
I got to do it. Say, okay,
you
put it
got
in your
to
head.
do it. You got to
Don't
do
forget it, and go
up.
back when he's done. So
when he's done. Well, I get that. Yeah.
And now
definitely.
I had a great response to something you said, and it's like the other night when this happened, something completely different. Like, crap, what was I going to say? I had something good, like profound and good to say, and gone.
Well, then, can I say my thing?
Say your thing.
I'm so nervous. Friday, I have to DJ for 90 minutes. I just don't know. I don't think I have enough bangers. Of course, I'm being facetious, but I know that it's the Olympics and I have to play Party in the USA. I know I have to play that. I know that I have to play that.
I remember what I was going to say now.
Oh, good. See, I helped you out there by a little quick segue.
So at the risk of sounding like you're only as good as your last gig.
PK Downing, Judas Priest.
At the risk of saying or sounding like a broken record, I got to go back to that thing that I learned from Louis C.K., the disgraced comedian, which is dumb. But
like the second you say his name, my head goes right to that image.
Right. So,
like, dude, really?
Yeah, that's a shame, because he did have some good stuff.
There was a George Carlin tribute, and this is where I heard this. They had it at I don't know, the gala or whatever, and his daughter was there, and he gave the talk. and he did it off the hat, and it was really cool. He was saying how he'd been a comedian in Boston for many years, and that's a comedy town, and
a very big comedy town.
He had, he found himself 10 years later doing comedy at a Chinese restaurant. It's like, well, why would you want to do comedy at a Chinese restaurant? They just hired me to do it. I would do it. And nobody really wanted to hear what I had to say, but it was a gig and I did it. And, I got in my car and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? You've been doing the same crappy act for 10 years. Maybe it's time to hang it up. You're at a Chinese restaurant. You're not going anywhere. So I said, I got my car to go home and I popped the CD in that was a George Carlin, how to hone your skills as a comedian thing.
Whoa.
And something that Carlin talked about that Louis C.K. adopted into what he did was, it's like, how when you have this big joke, like the really funny joke, you save it until the end. Like that's your big finish, right? Is your big joke, your strongest material. You save it till the end. So when you walk off stage, they're cheering. Change it up. Take your best material and do it first, because that forces you by like survival instinct to up your game.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I started doing that. It changed my life.
Yeah, because, it's like, should I jump off the cliff or not? No,
I was terrified because I just blown my best bit, but somehow I had to finish my set.
Yeah.
And I had to up it. So I did. And it forced me to do it. I heard that. And as soon as I heard that, I'd never done it before, but I started blowing my best material immediately. I would take the best songs and the best sets and play them right away.
Yeah.
That's where I got the idea for the school. Hit them hard. Hit them hard right now. They'll trust you now. And what was a pleasant surprise was I could go anywhere I wanted to go. I thought it was going to force me to pull something out that was better. No, it was easier because it gave me liberties I didn't have before. If I'd have played some BS for the first 2.5 hours and, saved the last hour and a half as the bangers, they'd have been mad at me for 2.5 hours. But I didn't have that sensation. I had them incredibly happy and enthusiastic and surprised that I hit them right away with the good stuff. And then, you do like a half hour or 40 minutes of that. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. What's next? And then you can do weird stuff.
You develop 30-year-old tracks. You develop trust with them.
Look at restaurants. You can't make your appetizer okay and your dessert amazing. Like you have to make every course stand on its own ground and be amazing. And like they don't have that luxury of, well, I'll slow up. I think I've told this story real quick. Probably, 17 years ago, 18 years ago, IKEA had a party for 300 people and they hired a band. And I had the DJ there and I DJ'd at a different venue. And it was Naked Eyes.
Right.
And they started with 400 people in the room. And Naked Eyes came out, got introduced by the GM who's friends with the singer. And my DJ said by the time they played Always Something There to Remind Me, there was maybe 30 people.
Right.
Because they absolutely, adamantly were not doing their bangers till the end of the night and they lost the room. If they had walked on stage and played Always Something There, the entire crowd would have lost
promises or something that people knew.
Fortune and Fame.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you just hit them, and we see this all the time, not as much now with COVID, but I would go see bands that I really liked and they'd have like that huge, huge track. When I saw Autograph, they did turn up the radio like early in the night. Even I was like,
they opened.
I don't know another song by these guys. Why are they blowing this one off on song 5?
They may have opened for Rat. I think they opened for Rat.
I saw him headline actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, at a small club.
Right after that, it came out. It was like early 1984. Yeah, October of '84. I saw that. So it hadn't been out for very long.
No.
They were opening for Rat.
But it's one of those things where I totally agree with you. And I think it's a good challenge for DJs, especially to say, I've got a format of the night that I know I'm going to go through. Let me switch gears. Let me open with this. But it harkens back a little bit to the days of, what's your first song after this first dance? I always play Celebration. You do? Okay, that's what I'll play. And I'm like, where do I go from Celebration? I can only go down. I can't keep going up because it's old people.
After Celebration, you do We Are Family.
Well, no, but that's the thing. You end up sticking. You either stay there or you go way down. So I was just like, let me try starting. And I'm the first to admit it's worked for 20 years. But I have a pattern of starting low and building that ladder of BPMs and trying to mix it up,
right?
But switch it up a little bit. But I think for this year, I might just come in and pull out both barrels and be like, "Here you go, kids! Boom!" Starting with Uptown Funk, and let the crowd go, "Whoa!"
My challenge to you is forget about the whole BPM thing and just do what feels right. If that happens to be something that works out really well BPM wise with what you are in right now, go ahead, make your next track work with it, but don't make that be the main deciding factor on what next track is, because it may or may not be the best choice for what's in front of you. You know, sometimes it is. I mean, you know, sometimes you do like a half hour. This is amazing. I do anyway, where I'm just mixing it up and I'm coming in the right places and coming out of the right places, and the keys are working and the beats are working and all the other sounds are harmonically working together, and I'm building this amazing thing.
Right.
And then I'll just do something wacky. And that's that right there to me, and that's just been my experience, is the, whoa, what was that? Because when something is trancy and the same and doesn't change, you don't take notice. But when there's a change, ooh, I take notice.
No, 100%.
Absolutely. It's the effect that you're looking for with the BPM matching is to kind of trick them into staying on the dance floor longer. Which is the point of mixing up the BPMs. But the same thing can be true about bringing people out onto the dance floor. If they're not out there already,
I absolutely agree. I mean, I don't want to break that. I take a lot of pride in trying to mix during a wedding because I know so many DJs are just throwing it at them. And I don't think you don't know something's good till you've had something bad. Yeah. Because you need a judgment point.
Right.
And I think in our game, at least with weddings, it's getting better. But there's still a lot of people, when I say something about mixing, like, dude, slam them. Every track, slam, 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 kill them. Now, that crowd will walk away and say, I had a great time. We danced. It was awesome. But I think there is a part of the artistry that you have to take ownership of and say, I'm proud of the product I delivered. I could have changed it and learn from that. Look at your history from a wedding and start to look for patterns that you may fall into, because it's very easy to do.
Well, what I do personally, and I'm not suggesting that I'm the one you should be listening to on this, but what's working for me.
You kind of are a little bit. You kind of are a little bit. Just saying.
You're kind of a big deal.
Oh, what are you going to do? I do all of the above, but I'm doing it different. I'm not mixing the same way each time. I'm constantly changing it up. Sometimes I'm slamming them. Sometimes they're beat mix. Sometimes they're cut short. Sometimes they're extended. It keeps it interesting.
Right.
If you're doing the same thing all night long, be it mixing or slamming or scratching or remixes or quick mixes, you're going to put your audience to sleep. I don't care if you're playing for 2 hours or 6 hours. Mix it up. It makes
no, you have to. No. You have to have those. Yeah. It sounds stupid, and I still love doing it. When I stumbled upon Turn Down for What into Luke Bryan Country Girl Shake That For Me, that was a big deal. There's a huge TikTok video where the guy's playing Turn Down for What, and he kills the volume, and he comes back with ABBA Dancing Queen, and the video joke is the guy's all set for the drop, and it's like Dancing Queen stuff.
And he goes,
what? Yeah. Well, guess what?
Saw that.
I didn't find it that
We're talking about a routine that I started doing 5 years ago. So I was onto it then, and it's not that I'm so special, but I'm going to further that this year. I want to further get people to go from, wait a second, I didn't see this coming. This is really cool. I'm getting my, Oreos, but they're broken up on top of the ice cream sundae. I'm getting everything I want at once.
The other fun thing to think about, to bring it back around, and this is a little more advanced probably for a lot of people, but we talked about the Scritti Politti song. And what was cool about it were the key changes. And that was like the thing that was just so dramatic and cool about it.
Yeah.
Same thing with your mixes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you try to harmonically mix, oh, well, I'm going to do the key of G for 20 minutes. It's okay, but it would be more interesting to go up and down the scale because it's dramatic. And
well, even after hearing this, I'm now contemplating, you know what? Is this something to look at? Should I look at my tracks that are this key and say, let me try these at home and see how they work with each other. Let me see if I can do that. I mean, here's one of the most respected studio guitar players in history. And he's like calling this the best key change song of all time. Good. And when he shows the chords, it's like, oh my God, now, you know, I see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like the Pink Floyd Money when you talk about the best example of a time signature change, where the song is like 7/8 and then it goes to 4/4 and then it goes back. Right. It's like, wow, what just happened? By the way, I have to throw this in as we wind down because I'm looking at the time. We're talking about expressions that mean something. Connor was supposed to do a 4-hour flight today because he's getting close to taking his test to get his license. And he calls me and he goes, yeah, I didn't go up because he bought new headphones, noise canceling flight headphones that were megabucks, but so worth it because it's so loud in the plane.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, I thought you were flying for 4 hours. So he goes, you know what? It was kind of windy and it was a little overcast. And I said, so whose call was that? Yours or the flight instructor? And he goes, flight instructor said, hey, you got a kind of tough tailwind today. And it's getting more overcast. You're going to be 100 miles away. It's up to you, though. If you want to fly, we'll let you fly. He goes, but just remember one thing. And Connor goes, what's that? He goes, I would much rather think of flying on the ground than think of being on the ground while I'm flying.
Yeah.
And Connor goes, I think I'll skip today. And he told me that. I was like, that's a t-shirt.
Gold nugget there. That's a gold
But he looks at him and he just goes, you can go up if you want, but I'm just saying, I'd much rather be thinking of flying on the ground than be thinking of on the ground while I'm flying. So
right.
But as far as expressions, I was like, okay, that's mine for the day.
It's good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I was thinking about what you had said about, you know, taking certain songs and trying them at home to see what works. I can tell you from experience that some of the best things that I've come up with have been last minute, on the fly. Oh no, what do I do? Hey, you know what? Let's try this kind of stuff on the gig.
Yeah.
Right there live. Just stuff.
Oh no, that's under pressure is when the talent comes out, I think.
It does. Yeah, I refuse to buy that sticker from a certain person that has the Camelot wheel that I could put on my laptop. So I make sure I follow the Camelot wheel.
Well, I mean,
it's an added bonus if you have an idea that I know these two will work from a harmonic standpoint. I don't think you should follow it like a wheel, though.
I don't think I need that sticker on my laptop.
I was just going to say that it's kind of like the old music. We have the thing that we would call, you know, lucky accidents, or, you know, this things that weren't supposed to happen, but they did, and they were cool. They weren't supposed to work together. It wasn't supposed to go that way, but damn it if it wasn't just a lucky, just a very happy accident.
Peanut butter and chocolate.
We haven't let Jimmy say a word for about a half hour.
I was going to say, is Jimmy's with it? He doze off?
No, we reached out to him a few times. I think maybe his mic's out or something, or
okay.
He, you know, or his, you know, something else happened.
That's all right. He's here anyway.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Should we put a fork in it?
Jimmy,
I think
Jimmy,
we're done.
You're always welcome here. We love you, brother.
I think we're good.
Yes. Yeah, we're good.
All right, kids. We'll see you next week. Bring Jimmy back, and we'll talk more nonsense with you. Thanks for watching.